Hello there once again, people! And welcome back to the Quake playthrough. Yes, actually, the thing is, lately I've kind of been going off on a random tangent. Basically it was that I was trying to check out a bunch of, whatchamacallit. I was trying to check out a lot of Doom levels. I had like a lot of shovelware levels and whatnot to check out, and the whole point was, let's see how many of these hellhole things we could get through. And at a certain point, they started taking their bloody toll. But it really didn't attack me fully, so what I had to do was end up playing some terrible Star Wars games. As in, Star Wars games from the 80s that literally nobody would touch today. Yeah, to the point that there's pretty much almost 0 to none videos for it on YouTube. Which is pretty sad because that tells you how bad it is. So yeah, that was about 3 months ago, and actually no, I think it was actually like, I uploaded last month or something like that, but I had like a long period where I just like didn't record anything and then finally uploaded that final part. But basically, I needed a little break. I needed like a way to get away from it all the terrible stuff that I've been doing lately to myself. I needed to get away from the hellhole. And so I did. I escaped it. I stopped playing games. And I stopped torturing myself with horrible, horrible games that nobody would dare ever touch. And so yeah, after this few month hiatus, I'm back! I'm back! And this time around, we're back to playing what I actually kind of wanted to do in the first place, which was Quake! Remember this, people! Quake! We're not deviating from the path again. This is the focus. Quake! Now, let's hope we don't, all of a sudden, get some weird distraction or something like that and get something else. And that's what we're going to try and deviate from. I mean, wait, no, deviates to get away from. So we're going to do the opposite of deviation. And that's not aviation. I don't know what it is. But, yeah. I guess conform? We're going to conform! That doesn't sound good, but I'll go with it. I'll totally go with it. We're going to conform, people. We're all going to conform and become conformists. We're going to wear nice sweaters. Nice little sweater jackets. Yeah, sweater jackets. The best way to meet conformity for some reason, according to my logic. Okay, anyway, I've been rambling for nearly 3 minutes. Actually, it's just about to hit 3 minutes. And I have yet to actually get to anything relevant, which is Quake. Okay, so, last time, which happened so long ago, we were checking out Aftershock. Specifically, we were doing the Aftershock single YOLO levels. We had just started doing it. I did Deep Flipka's Show and Now, and I also did The Sink. The Sink was a totally new level. I had never seen that one prior to that video. While Deep Flick is a level I was kind of familiar with. And most of these are going to be ones I'm familiar with, besides the rare occasional level that I'm not. But this level's going to actually bring a little bit something new to the table. Specifically, there's only so many levels that actually have README files attached to them. See, the best way of saying how Aftershock kind of did it was, they created their own official levels, and that was the main campaign. These standalone levels are pretty much things taken from the internet, and then applied with their own texture set. That's really the main difference between this and, say, like, what you saw on the internet. You probably could hunt down these exact files on the internet. Like I said, besides the fact that the textures. But because of the texture difference, we of course have to keep them separate. You know, because there's that deviation in texture, it's not like a Doom shovelware, whereby you load up the level, it's the exact same as if you're downloading it on the internet. There can be differences here. And the main difference is, for some reason, Quake didn't exactly approve of using the textures on the files. And so therefore, they use their own textures on these files. And so yeah, everything in Aftershock is its own standalone level, completely separate from whatever you could find on the internet, even if it looks exactly the same besides the bloody texture change. So, yeah. With that in mind, we'll probably be in the future covering some of these in either different textured versions, or even more likely, what was I saying? Different texture versions, like either with different shovelware packs or on the internet. But we might find these again, is basically what I'm saying. The biggest thing to take away from all this is that these are the levels that kind of existed in about October of 1996. And the biggest and most significant thing about all of this is the fact that this stuff was released at the same time that Thread was basically released. Until this was released, Thread could not be used. As Thread was the first actual editor used, that means a lot of these maps pretty much were made using weird workarounds. As we've seen kind of like with the Sync, it was made with a lot of textual editors. And Deep Flick was made with, I think, a Doom editor. That somehow had compatibility for Quake at one point, and then they got rid of that for some reason. But yeah, needless to say, the ones we've been checking out lately have been kind of weird ones. And as I was trying to say before, not all the levels we play have README files attached to them, though they could have README files that you could find on the internet. Now, I could hunt that down. I could, say, well, that's the name of the level, so we might as well connect them. But it's almost the principle of the fact that mattered that there's the one online that's also going to be separate. It's going to be one that doesn't have these texture changes. And so because of that, I kind of want to keep the two separate whatnot. Those readmes you found on the internet would be towards the regular levels. So I guess if we go there, I guess it's going to be a relook at some of these. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's basically the mindset behind it, is that we're going to ignore it. If they don't have a README file in here, we're not going to care about the fact that it might have a README file somewhere else. Of course, ignoring the fact that Quake Spy is gone, which became GameSpy, and with it, pretty much thousands upon thousands of Quake levels, which probably includes these. So yeah, this is probably one of the only ways you can get some of these. I don't know which ones exist or which ones don't. I really haven't bothered looking. I'm mostly going to focus on the actual expansion packs, if you will, unofficial add-on packs, if you will, before I actually bother checking online and trying to find separate levels. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a plan. Anyway, I've been rambling, and so what we're basically going to be checking out today is going to be a level that has no documentation, and with that, we're basically just seeing the level. And the level, this name is called Exploding Wall from the QuakeLab, which basically brings us to our next point. The QuakeLab basically was a group of people that were founded basically to create test maps. Kind of like the Sync, except the Sync was made by some other person or something like that, just on his own. But this is another test map. That's basically what this is. That's what all the QuakeLab maps would be. And yeah. So the QuakeLab made a bunch of random maps that added some new feature, or some feature that might be harder to understand using the editor. Basically to either teach newbies how to create things, or to even show new concepts compared to what was available in the base game. So you might see some tricks here that didn't even exist in the base game, as is the case here with the exploding wall. It's basically a literal exploding wall. And yeah, it's a totally new feature, exclusive to Aftershock. In fact, I'm not even sure if this thing exists outside of this one particular level. That's the one thing about these test maps, is that they exist, but I'm not even sure if, they ever came back, had any relevance, anything. I guess all we can really do is continue along, and eventually we can hope that something, happens. But until then, I guess. So, yeah, with that in mind, I really don't think there's really much more to talk about. So let's load this bloody thing up, because I've been rambling for 10 bloody minutes and haven't done a single thing. Okay. And there we are. Alright, we're back to the Aftershock loader. Go to our other levels. We want to scroll down to, what was it again? Explode Wall, where it's P... I think it's XP level 1. Yeah, the bloody level names. Yep, there we are. You can't even see the full name. Look at that. Look at the brilliance of that name right there. It just completely, like, it's actually stretching over onto the left-hand side over there. Luckily, we have the console, and that gives us our proper name. Okay. So, I have done a video on this for Quake of course, but luckily I can actually explain things now by giving commentary. Okay, so first of all, we have a rocket launcher. That's useful. And, we have some walls. As you see, the key here is that we have this one particular wall that's damageable. And I believe if you damage it enough times, it kind of does that. It reveals something. But let's actually restart and actually do it the way they kind of want me to do it. If I do this, that's basically the mindset behind this. You basically shoot the wall, it gets destroyed, you get this extra little room here. And as you see, as I kind of just showed before, all it really is a wall section that's kind of invisible, with these explosive radioactive containers behind it that, of course, you can blow up. So you do that, and that, of course, blows up. Simple enough to understand, but it's a little trick, and it's designed in-game to work like something else. You know, I think this is probably inspired by, like, Duke Nukem, because I think Duke Nukem was advertising a lot of dynamicness at the time. It was featuring a lot of, like, exploding walls and that type of thing. And Quake is pretty static. That was, like, the biggest flaw of Quake in comparison to Duke Nukem 3D. And so this basically, I guess, was an attempt to try and correct it. Now, of course, it isn't built into the engine at all. People couldn't exactly do that. It's just a hack with the editor. And that's really what you're going to be seeing as a common theme for these new features and all that stuff. It's more hacks and little tricks you can do with the editor than they are actual real new things. You know, all this really is a wall that's damageable, and of course some radioactive containers, but that of course doesn't really matter when it looks cool, and it results in this explosion-based thing. So yeah, there's really not much to this level. It really is just this, like, I'll even go to no clip just to show you guys how little there is to this map. Wait, what's this? What's this? There's like a thin area. What's this about? What's this? Why does this exist? Okay, full. Is it Fulbright? Oh boy, it's not Fulbright. Wait, what is it? Our Fulbright. Okay, there we are. See, I've been away from Quake for a little bit of time. Quite a few months. So, okay, this is just a random piece of geometry. It's not even hollow. It's just a random piece of geometry. Okay. And otherwise, we just have this. Amazing, right? Yeah. And of course, we have a skybox of tough if you care about that. That's the one other flaw. You exit the level, it ends up just booting you back to the main area, and then you have to, like, get out of it manually, which kind of stinks, but it's whatever. Anyway, as you see, this is just another pointless test level, and that's the biggest problem with the Aftershock standalone levels. I don't believe I mentioned it before, I'm not really sure. It's been quite a few months. I forget what I mentioned, what I haven't. So, basically, the biggest problem when it comes to the Aftershock levels is that, well, they're like a total mess. It's like anything that's anything could be in here. There's single-player, multiplayer, test-based levels. Pretty much any type of level out there is going to be in here. And yeah, I don't think we've really seen many test-based levels. No, we haven't, because Q2 doesn't have any test-based levels. They're just all terrible, monotonous levels. And Dark Hour didn't have any test levels. It was all playable-based levels. So, yeah, the big thing about Aftershock is that its standalone levels may be bloody test levels, which means it serves literally zero purpose to really us for playability. Like, all we really had was to load up a level and shoot a wall with a rocket launcher. Hooray! Playability! That was the highlight of my day. But at the same time, it's a bit more than that. You know, it's the fact that it's introduced a new feature, one that may never be used again, like I said. Hopefully, like, we'll find it again, it being used. I mean, you can't really say too much like to bash it or say like it's not going to be used again, because we really haven't been checking out the good quality levels. I've kind of intentionally been playing some of the lower quality packs, meaning Q2 and even Dark Hour to a certain extent are seen by the community as being not exactly the best. And definitely like Q2 offered like nothing. I don't think like Dark Hour... Well, Q2 offered one lava ball, and that was the most we got for hazards in the entirety of Q2. So, good luck getting anything there. And as for Dark Hour, there were hazards. I remember, like, you know, Mandy Ben, like that giant ceiling-based trap. But, yeah, it was still rather simplistic levels. The levels weren't made to be too overly featured. There wasn't like all these different little things like that exist in Aftershock. There was like a definite increase in the features and little tricks that exist in Aftershock. Most prevalent has to be of new features would have to be the sync maybe inspiring Darmak. That basically is probably the biggest correlation I can make. You know, we haven't seen exploding walls anywhere else, and so I can't exactly say anything about it. But we're almost at the point whereby we've covered everything I've kind of played in Quake, and so we'll be getting to new things that I haven't even touched. So, yeah. You know, like I said, most of these levels I've bloody played, so it's kind of like replaying them for me. But there are even some levels in Aftershock, like the Sink, that I haven't played. And eventually we'll even hit that level that, you know, basically drove me into like a year-long reading of Wheel of Time over here. Yeah. And now I'm totally disregarding it, I guess, because then again, actually, I did finish the Wheel of Time, and I technically finished the Hetson main game. So even if I was trying to go for it in this route, I think I could technically play it at this point. So I'm not really sure if I did too good there. But, I did it! Yay! Anyway, that's a story for another day. So yeah, this video is mostly a I'm back people type of video because you guys need an update after so many months. I haven't been doing anything whatsoever. And yeah, I'm kind of totally inconsistent. So, hi, I'm here everybody. I'm playing Quake again. If you like Quake levels, you'll enjoy this! So yeah, with that in mind, that's pretty much about it. Like I said, really not much more to talk about with this level. We don't get a readme file, so I can't really expand too much on the concept. Like, really all we had to work on was what exists in the level. And there really wasn't much that existed in the bloody level. It was one room that exploded and had a little tiny alcove area. But I've extended this into a 20-minute video talking about different things because, you know, first video in a few months. So, had to make it a little bit more of a ramble. So I guess it worked out. That was almost a totally irrelevant level anyway. Anyway, that's this level. Now you guys have seen exploding walls. A feature which may never be used again. Let's hope against that, but we'll see. And we've also been introduced to QuakeLab, which I guess is the developer of this, based on it's from the QuakeLab, but there's really nothing more to it. But yeah, you'll see other levels which have from the QuakeLab in the title, and that of course means it's by them. Usually developers like to keep a consistent naming scheme, you'll start to realize. So that's one way kind of like to determine. Just like kind of the deep flick is showing now is like very useful for determining what other levels were made by that guy. I completely forget his name. You know, that's the thing. It's kind of like I think, is it Jack from Mullen? Off the top of my head, that's the name I got. I think that might be right. I forget. Let's see here. Hooray! I got exactly right. Jack from Mullen. I actually had something. I remembered somehow. Don't ask me how on earth I remembered that. I guess because I've been playing this for a while. So yeah. Anyway, I've been rambling for 20 minutes and most of this was totally irrelevant. But then again, I guess it was good, like I said, to ramble, talk about this stuff, and move forward. Anyway, thank you very much all for watching, people. It's been an adventure, and I shall see you all next time.